Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another deep dive with us. Um, Today we're going to be looking at something a little different, a little out there. You know how we like to go down the rabbit holes, and this one is a doozy. I am really excited to welcome our guest, who is going to walk us through all of it.
Thanks. Yeah, this one's pretty wild. I can't wait to get into it.
So for anybody who hasn't listened to this show before, every week we take a source that one of you lovely listeners sends to us, and we pick it apart, we go through all the major points and try to figure out what it all means. And so tell us a little bit about what we're looking at this week. What is it that we're diving into?
So this week we're looking at a book called Transinvestigação by a guy named David Ewing Jr. And let me tell you, this book is packed with some pretty out there stuff.
Transinvestigation.
Right.
Okay. What is Transinvestigação all about?
Well, it's basically about this idea that history as we know it isn't exactly accurate. Ewing claims that there's this whole hidden history that's been deliberately suppressed, and he presents all this evidence to support his claims.
Okay, so right off the bat, we're talking about alternative history,
Yeah.
hidden truths, that kind of thing. Give us an example. What's one of the things he says has been hidden from us?
One of the biggest things is this idea of a lost civilization called Tartaria. Have you ever heard of that?
Tartaria. No, I don't
Yeah, most people haven't. But Ewing claims that Tartaria was this massive global empire that existed just a few centuries ago and was way more advanced than we're led to believe.
Okay, so a lost advanced civilization, that's definitely a popular theme in conspiracy theories. But what makes Tartaria so special? What's the evidence?
Well, Ewing points to a lot of things, like old maps that show Tartaria as this sprawling empire covering huge parts of the world, and he talks about all this advanced architecture and technology that he claims is evidence of their civilization.
So old maps and buildings, is that it? Because that doesn't sound like super solid evidence to me. I mean, couldn't those maps be wrong and couldn't those buildings have been built by someone else?
He goes deeper than that. Like, he claims that Tartaria was deliberately wiped from history by this, secret group of powerful people who control the world.
Okay, so now we're getting into the classic conspiracy theory territory. A secret cabal controlling everything. Who are these people? The Illuminati. Lizard people.
He doesn't get into specifics about who they are, but he suggests they're like a global elite who benefit from keeping the truth about Tartaria hidden. He says that Tartaria's advanced technology could, revolutionize our world if it was ever revealed.
So free energy, anti-gravity, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. He believes that this hidden elite is suppressing these technologies to maintain their power and control over the world.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. So we've got this lost civilization with amazing technology that's being kept secret by a powerful elite. But why? What's their motive? What do they get out of it?
That's one of the big questions Ewing tries to answer in his book. He believes that this elite wants to maintain the status quo, keep the population ignorant and under their control. And he goes on to suggest that they've been manipulating history and current events for centuries to achieve their goals.
So it's not just about hiding technology. It's about controlling the narrative, shaping our perception of reality. That's a pretty big claim. What are some of the historical events he thinks have been manipulated?
Well, he talks about things like the JFK assassination, 9/11, even the moon landing. He claims that these events were either staged or orchestrated in some way to advance the agenda of this hidden elite.
Whoa, okay. Now those are some serious accusations. Does he provide any evidence to back up these claims? Or is it all just speculation?
He does point to certain anomalies and inconsistencies in the official narratives of these events. Like, he talks about the magic bullet theory in the JFK assassination and the fact that Building 7 collapsed on 9/11 even though it wasn't hit by a plane.
Okay, yeah. I've heard about those things. But are those inconsistencies really proof of a conspiracy? Or could they just be mistakes or things that we don't fully understand yet?
That's the thing. It's up to each individual to decide what they believe. Ewing presents a lot of compelling evidence, but he also admits that some of it is circumstantial. He encourages readers to do their own research and draw their own conclusions.
So he's not saying this is definitely what happened. He's saying, hey, look at this. This is weird. What do you think?
Exactly. He's more about asking questions and challenging the official narrative than providing definitive answers.
And that's what we do here, too. We ask questions and see where they lead. So far, this is fascinating. We've got lost civilizations, secret elites, and potentially staged historical events. Is there anything else we need to cover from Ewing's book before we move on?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot more. He talks about this thing he calls transvestigation, which is basically investigating people who might not be who they seem. And he gets into some pretty wild stuff about numerology and the significance of certain numbers in history.
Okay, transvestigation and numerology. This is definitely getting more interesting. But before we go down those rabbit holes, I want to know, what do you think so far? Does any of this resonate with you?
Well, I have to admit, some of it is pretty out there, but I do find it interesting how Ewing connects all these different ideas together. He's basically saying that everything is connected, that there's this hidden web of power and manipulation that's been shaping our world for centuries.
And he's asking us to wake up and see it, right?
Exactly. He wants us to question everything we've been told and start thinking for ourselves.
All right, listeners, you heard it here first. We're diving deep into the world of Transinvestigação, where nothing is as it seems and everything is connected. Stick with us, because things are about to get even weirder. All right, so before the break, we were talking about Transinvestigação, all these crazy conspiracy theories, and this idea of a lost civilization called Tartária and hidden elites and all that jazz.
Yeah, and don't forget the transvestigation thing.
Right, transvestigation. So remind us what transvestigation is all about. What is that exactly?
Basically, it's about questioning the identities of people in power. Ewing suggests that some of them might be, disguised or pretending to be someone they're not.
So like wearing masks or using fake identities, is that what he's saying?
Kind of. He focuses a lot on powerful women who appear masculine, and he speculates that they might actually be men in disguise.
Okay, now that's a wild theory. Does he give any specific examples of who he thinks might be transvestigating?
Yeah, he names a few people, but we're not going to get into that here. It gets kind of tricky and we don't want to spread rumors or anything. But the point is, he's asking us to look beyond appearances and consider that things might not be what they seem.
I get it. Don't trust everything you see. Okay, so we've got Tartária, hidden elites, transvestigation. What else is in this book that we need to unpack?
Well, he gets really into numerology, specifically these numbers, 19 and 74.
Numerology, really? What's so special about those numbers?
He claims they show up way too often in significant historical events to be just coincidence. Like the dates of major disasters, assassinations, wars, you name it. He's got whole charts and graphs mapping out these occurrences.
Okay, I gotta admit, I'm intrigued. Give me an example. Where do these numbers show up?
Well, he talks a lot about the number 19 and its connection to Hurricane Sandy, Sandy Hook, even the dates related to those famous expeditions. Admiral Byrd's expeditions.
All right, Admiral Byrd. He's the guy who supposedly explored the Hollow Earth.
Right, exactly. See, it all ties together.
Hold on. Back up a sec. Hollow Earth. You mean like there's a whole civilization living inside the planet?
That's another theory Ewing explores. He claims that Admiral Byrd's expeditions in the 1940s weren't just about exploring Antarctica, but about making contact with an advanced civilization that lives inside the Earth. And he suggests that this information has been suppressed because, it would completely change our understanding of the world.
Okay, this is getting pretty out there, but it's kind of fascinating too.
Yeah.
So we got Tartaria on the surface, and maybe another civilization hiding inside the planet. What's the connection between the two?
Well, Ewing doesn't explicitly connect them, but he suggests that both Tartaria and Agartha, which is what some people call the Hollow Earth civilization, possessed advanced knowledge and technology that's been hidden from us. He sees it as part of a larger pattern of suppression and control by these powerful forces.
Right, the hidden elite that's controlling everything. So they're hiding advanced technology, manipulating historical events, controlling the narrative, and maybe even keeping a whole civilization secret. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But here's where it gets even crazier. Ewing also talks about modern-day manipulation using deepfakes.
Deepfakes, like those videos where they make it look like someone is saying or doing something they never did.
Exactly. He uses the example of President Biden and speculates that he might be wearing a mask or that some of his appearances might be deepfakes.
Okay, now that is unsettling. I mean, if we can't even trust what we see with our own eyes, how do we know it's real anymore?
That's the point Ewing is trying to make. He's saying that we're living in a world where it's becoming increasingly difficult to discern truth from fiction. And he believes that this is all part of a deliberate strategy to keep us confused and disoriented.
So it's like they're creating this smokescreen of disinformation to distract us from what's really going on. But what's the end game? What are they trying to achieve?
Well, Ewing doesn't offer any definitive answers, but he suggests that it's all about maintaining their power and control. He believes that they fear the truth, that they know if people were to wake up and see the world for what it really is, their whole system would crumble.
So it's all about control. And they're using everything at their disposal. Technology, media, history, even our own perception of reality to keep us under their thumb.
That's how Ewing sees it, yeah. He's calling for us to become more aware, more discerning, and more willing to question everything we're told.
It's a lot to take in, I have to say. But it's definitely food for thought. Before we go any further down this rabbit hole, I want to hear from you, our listeners. What do you make of all this? All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Lost civilizations, hidden elites, transvestigation, numerology, hollow earth, deepfakes. Phew. I need a nap.
I know, right? It's a lot to process, but that's what makes this book so fascinating. It really makes you think, and it challenges you to question everything.
Okay, so we've questioned pretty much everything. But what's the point of all this? What's Ewing trying to tell us with all these wild theories and ideas?
Well, I think his main message is that we need to wake up and see the world for what it really is. He believes that there's this hidden reality, this web of power and deception that most people are completely unaware of.
Right, and he's saying that we're being manipulated, that our perceptions of reality are being shaped by forces beyond our control. But what can we do about it? I mean, it all feels so overwhelming.
He doesn't offer any easy solutions, but he does encourage us to become more aware, more discerning, and more skeptical of the information we're given. He wants us to develop critical thinking skills so that we can see through the illusions and recognize the truth.
So it's not about blindly believing or rejecting everything we hear. It's about learning to think for ourselves, to question the narrative and do our own research.
Exactly. It's about taking back our power, becoming active participants in shaping our own understanding of the world.
And I think that's a really important message, especially in today's world, where we're bombarded with information from all sides. It's so easy to get caught up in the echo chambers of social media or to blindly trust what we see on the news.
Yeah, and that's exactly what these powerful forces are counting on. They want us to be passive consumers of information, to blindly accept the narratives they're feeding us.
But Ewing is saying, hey, don't just sit there and take it. Question everything. Think for yourself.
Right. And he's giving us the tools to do that. He's providing us with a different lens through which to view the world, a lens that allows us to see the hidden agendas and the manipulations that are happening all around us.
It's like he's handing us a red pill and saying, take this and you'll see how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Exactly. And it's up to each individual to decide whether they want to take that pill or not.
Well, listeners, we've taken you down some pretty deep rabbit holes today with David Ewing Jr.'s Transinvestigação. We've explored some pretty out there ideas and challenged some fundamental assumptions about history, power, and the nature of reality itself.
And hopefully we've sparked some curiosity in you, encouraged you to question the narratives you've been given, and to explore these ideas further on your own.
Whether you agree with Ewing's conclusions or not, I think we can all agree that his book is a powerful reminder of the importance of critical thinking, independent research, and a healthy dose of skepticism in today's world.
Absolutely. And remember, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep seeking truth, wherever it may lead you.
That's it for this deep dive, folks. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another adventure into the unknown.